Hi, welcome to this next video in our current affairs video series. I'm Linda Spaanbroek, one of the board members of 3PGC, and as proof that I'm from the Netherlands, there's a windmill in the background. And in this short video, I wanted to take a look with you at loneliness. We know that a lot of people who are sort of locked in quarantine or in some sort of semi-quarantine like we are here in Holland. We are allowed to get out, but not in groups. We have to keep our 1.5 meter distance and basically not allowed to visit each other. In these times, I hear a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to have their kids at home, how difficult it is to be at home not being able to work. But I think there's also a group of people like me who are living alone, and all the interaction with other people, or not all the interaction, but all the physical meetings with people fall away. And there's limited chance to get out of the house, to speak to other people or to be near other people. Here in Holland, all the restaurants and bars are closed, so it's the occasional walk with the dog and being in the house, maybe in your own garden. That's which are the limits at the moment. And when you live alone, it could be that loneliness comes up. What I've realized for myself, that it's in normally when our lives are going the way we're used to, we're going out to work, we're going to visit friends, we're going out to bars and restaurants, we have a chance to divert ourselves from our own thinking. We in a way have a way, we can walk away from our thinking, distract ourselves by looking outside of ourselves for entertainment. And in these times, it seems to me that that's a lot more difficult. And it could be a good opportunity to look at the fact that you might be running away from your own thinking, or being afraid of the stillness, or being afraid of the silence. It must be different for everybody. But solitude seems to bring up stuff that otherwise can be pushed away or be covered with loads of activities. And for me, it's interesting that if a feeling comes up, and whether it's the feeling of loneliness or the feeling of resistance to being stuck to the house, whatever feeling it is, we tend to forget that when it brings up sensations in our bodies we don't like, when consciousness animates our thinking and brings our thinking to life, that we really want to walk away from those sensations. We want them to stop immediately. And again, in normal circumstances, we can distract ourselves from those feelings. And I think this might be a great opportunity to see, maybe in a new light or a bit deeper, that whatever we are feeling, whether it is loneliness or whether it is resistance to to the current situation, whatever the feeling is, it is always the same thing. It's never anything different from thought in the moment, thought animated by consciousness. And like Sid Banks said, one of his more famous quotes is that if people would know what their experiences are, they wouldn't have to be afraid of them. And if we're not afraid of our experience anymore, life becomes so much calmer and so much yeah, I would say better, but for lack of another word, because of my limited English, I'm sorry. Um, but well-being is our own well-being is way more visible when and comes to the surface much easier when we know that whatever we're feeling, whatever we're experiencing, is always only that momentarily, temporarily, thinking come to life via consciousness. And realizing that when whatever feeling comes up, the feeling of being stuck, the feeling of being lonely, the feeling of being in a way too crowded house, that's only ever the only thing. And when we can see that and are less afraid of that, the possibility comes up to just sit with it. And the interesting thing is that as soon as resistance to whatever we're feeling or thinking falls away, the thought and the feeling can't stay.